Welcome to our live stream. Today we are going to be showing you some selected pieces from the May Art Dare. If you would like to grow as an artist and you can't afford an art class, we've got everything you need here at Art Prof, critiques and tutorials. The May Art Dare was basically for people to watch any video, whether it was a TV show, a movie, a YouTube video, and to do timed gesture drawings based on that video. And we had a lot of fun with this Art Dare, guys. I have to say, it was the most number of Art Dare entries we've ever seen. And you guys will see today that some people were really, really productive over the past month. And I will say what was fun about this for me was actually doing these draw-along sessions, which became so popular that I decided to do more of them. So this was a really great Art Dare in that I think for a lot of people, it opened a lot of doors in terms of what they could actually do with drawing. And so we did have this thing, we called it the Art Dare Leap. And so every week we assigned particular shows. You didn't have to do it. Plenty of people went off on their own and did their own shows, but one of the shows which was very popular in the Art Dare Leap was the Great British Baking Show. Tell me in the chat if you've watched the Great British Baking Show, because I know people who are really obsessed with that show. Like my sister is so hardcore into this show. I've watched a little bit of it here and there, but I'm not really a gigantic fan. But we're going to start out with some of these pencil drawings by Kasia Scalise-Rowinska from Austria. And so we're looking here at these pencil drawings by Kasia. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing people's names. I'm probably going to be doing that all night. And you guys will see that actually I've organized today's stream so that we're going to look at all the Great British Baking Show images together. So you might see different artists coming in and out of the stream. I just thought it'd be really fun to see, okay, we're all doing the same show, but how are the interpretations different from each other? Now, what I really like about Kasia's pieces, they're really efficient. I mean, this is a 5-minute drawing. Do you guys see how much information has been packed into this image? And that to me is really the sign of a good gesture drawing, is that it really boils the image down to the barest essentials. I mean, that's a lot of information. Like you can tell that this person on the right-hand side in a 2-minute drawing, you can tell they're eating something. I mean, isn't that amazing that you can communicate that much? And then little things like the figure on the left-hand side, like that little squiggle that's through the center of the apron. That's great. Like you can really get a sense of how that apron is being folded. And I'm just really, really impressed by that. The other fun thing too is you can see people doing the same show, but having such a different take on it. So we're going to look at these ink and brush pen sketches by Shabnam Nikhu. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce anybody's name. And these have such a different feel to them. I think one thing that I love is just the pure experimentation with the ink and the brush pen, which I think is hard to do in gesture drawing. I think in gesture drawing, most of us tend to prefer something like pencil or something like Conte crayon, something that's dry that we can really control a little bit better. And some of my favorite things about Shabnam's pieces is her willingness to let the ink bleed and go in all sorts of weird directions. And so it's almost that willingness to relinquish that control in the context of a gesture drawing, which I think is really hard to do. And you end up with these very strange, unpredictable spaces. But if you guys look at the one on the left, do you see how all the gray washes in the background that really contextualizes the figure? So Shabnam's doing some really cool things here, not just in terms of the engagement of the material, but also in terms of really establishing the sense of space. Thank you so much for your continued support, Damar, with your super chat. We really appreciate that. As you guys know, all of our content is 100% free. We rely entirely on donations. Now, a little bit more about these artists. Kasia is, like I said, from Austria. She's 36 years old. She's self-taught, and she really challenged herself to practice regularly. And by the way, if you guys want to read these statements, if you want to see people's links and stuff like that, just click on the link in the video description below for the May Art Dare page. And we are right now working on getting everything up there. I think almost everybody's up there, but you can go and look at the individual images and you can read the statements and stuff like that. And so Kasia explains she was trying to capture a lot of different emotions, which for sure, Great British Baking Show. Oh my God. Like when I was doing this live stream, I don't know if anybody knows this episode, but this poor guy, he just looks so upset and nervous all the time. I was like, how can people do this to themselves? Like I would just be so totally stressed out. But anyway, what's really cool, Kasia, in addition to having captured these emotions, these movements, she's also got a 1-year-old at home. I mean, you need a medal for that. Like, oh my goodness, having a 1-year-old at home during quarantine, I feel for you guys. I mean, I've got kids too, but my kids are way more independent. So wow, amazing job, Kasia, that you've got all that in there. Blue Wolf Spirit says, I like the part where the ink participates in co-creating the work. Exactly. It's like you can't predict what the ink wants to do. It has a mind of its own. But the question is, do you give it that freedom to be whatever it wants to be? And that's the real challenge going on in there. And it's really funny because what I like about looking at these sketches is trying to figure out who's who. So an image like this, which obviously, because it's not a super long drawing, does not have a lot of detail, you can still, I think from a lot of these images, really figure out who it is you're looking at, if it's a judge, or you can see like the intense concentration that people have in these shows. And I just think it's just wonderful the way that people really got down to the essentials, because I think you guys will see quite often, you look at some drawings and they're intensely detailed, but they actually don't really feel like the person. Like you can have a physical description that is very accurate, that actually doesn't feel like the person at all. And that's what I think these gesture drawings really show. Okay, so these are some more drawings by Kasia. You can see she also did some of these in marker and pen. And these poor contestants, you guys, you see these two people at the top, like they're so upset. You can see the mixer that's in between them. Like these are just the funniest drawings. And then look at the facial expression of the figure on the far right-hand lower corner. It's just fantastic. And then the other thing that I think is a really fun accident for a lot of people is just seeing the spread, the composition, how the images get thrown onto the page, because oftentimes you're doing so many drawings so quickly that you don't have time to really plan out exactly where you want to put things. And that's really, really cool. Tell me in the chat if you guys did the May Art Dare, what the experience was like for you. So even if you're not somebody who's in this particular stream, I know a lot of you guys participated. We saw a lot of progress and really what you gained from this exercise, because I think for a lot of people, the timed drawing was a new concept. A lot of people aren't used to only having 2 minutes, 5 minutes to make a drawing. And yet a lot of you guys really did an amazing job. Yeah, Johnny's saying each of them seems so personal and unique. And Blue Will Spirit says Kasia really captured the mood. Yeah, like this one here of the woman who's like sampling the pastry. You totally know that look on that show where they're like thinking really hard and they're eating and trying to make a witty comment at the same time. It's such a serious show, which is kind of hilarious. Oh, Slupnir, you did the Art Dare. So tell us what you learned. What was your experience like? If you guys are one of the people that participated, because I have to say it was the most productive month we've ever seen in terms of the amount of work that people created. Okay, we've got so many sketches from Sean Sutherland Kirby from the United Kingdom. And Sean actually did Great British Baking Show and Sherlock, which we're going to see later because Sean explains those are his two favorite shows. I can get on board with Sherlock. Great British Baking Show, not really my favorite, but you know, whatever, that's cool, that's fine. And so Sean explains that they use a chunky 5.6 millimeter graphite stick, and tried really hard to work very loosely, just as a standard warm-up. And yeah, that's exactly what these gesture drawings are for. They're warm-ups. They're you taking a jog around the track field before you play a soccer game. It's you doing your push-ups, doing your sit-ups. That's all it really is. But isn't it incredible the stories that get told? Like this figure here, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know the contestants by name, but do you guys see how you can feel the lean of the figure? You can feel the weight of that figure as they're kneeling against the table. It's those kinds of things that you can really tackle in a gesture drawing that I think oftentimes people just don't think to do in a longer term drawing. Alonzo says, you're very energetic. Yeah, I took a nap. This is what happens. Lisa H says, the speed really pushed me to draw freer. Sutnir says, you just had to go with what happens. Yeah, and I love this one where Sean really took the time not just to draw the people, but really to make a place. Because the thing about Great British Baking Show is there's so much stuff. There's mixers, there's bowls, there's all kinds of food items. And I feel like really capturing the scene, it's much more than the people. Like if you guys just draw people by themselves floating in midair, it doesn't really say very much. Like the fact that this person on the right-hand side, they're carrying this tray, you can feel the weight of their apron. I think really trying to capture that. You guys, these are 2-minute drawings. Like this is just so much information packed into a single piece. Buzzy Miller says, your kids play soccer. That's your only example. No, actually they don't. I think I said that because the town I live in is really obsessed with soccer. So that's probably why. I'm a big volleyball person. I was never one of those field sport people. I don't like running around in grass. Like, not so fun. Yeah, Blue Wolf Spirit is saying they captured the action rather than trying to get the shapes right. Because drawing, you guys, it's really not about accuracy. I think that if you want accuracy, take a photo. It's way faster. But I just love the little lumps that are sitting in front of this figure. Really nice job, Sean. This is really fun to see these. Okay, now I did do another live drawing stream that was based on a particular episode of The Twilight Zone. Tell me in the chat if you've ever watched The Twilight Zone, because I actually tried to get 2 of my kids to watch the really famous episode, the one that's called Beauty's in the Eye of the Beholder. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up because it's a very famous episode. But so the episode that we chose was this episode called The Masks, where basically there's this father who's about to die. He's got these rotten, selfish children who just think about themselves. He gives them these masks, and then all this bad stuff happens. It's a really cool piece, and I just loved the expressions and the gestures were really fun. So I actually did this stream, which was about how to use ink wash to do a lot of sketching. So if you guys want to check that out, you definitely can. Alonzo says, volleyball, tell us your height. I was really short. I mean, I still am. This is not a new thing. But you know something? I was a setter, which in volleyball basically means you pop the ball up so other people can hit it. And so it's not a very glamorous position, but you know something? When you're the setter, you call all the shots. So basically you're the boss. So nobody really thinks you're the boss because the people that get all the glamour are the people that hit, but the setter is in control. So that was a good position for me when I was younger. Yeah, Twilight Zone is really cool. Yeah, super fun. And like, look at these weird poses. Like this woman, the way she's holding the mask is so strange. So this next artist we're looking at, these next few sketches, these are by Kristen Steinfurth from Germany. And Kristen explains in her statement that she wanted to draw something different and how it was really interesting to draw with the time limit. And she really was trying to focus on being bold and really throwing the marks down. And really great job, especially this one. Like this is such a wonderful expressive feeling, and ink wash is not easy to control, you guys. It really sometimes gets very mushy. It's hard to give it a sense of structure and volume. And I feel like Kristen really nailed it in this one, especially around the left hand. Like, you guys see that really dark shadow that's on the side of the hair? I feel like that little pocket of space is really, really beautifully done. D Fix is saying, I bought a bamboo reed pen because of the stream. Love them. Yeah, I like the bamboo reed pen because you get to relinquish responsibility, because the bamboo reed pen has a mind of its own. It doesn't always make the exact same line. So that lack of predictability, I think, keeps things really fun. Sutnir is saying, so you were the golden setter. No, I just was the bossy setter. And actually, it was really fun because my coach used to say to me, he's like, yell at everybody, tell them what to do. I'm like, I can do that. So that was really, really fun. All right. Now, this is the cool thing, is that we saw Shabnam's pieces earlier from Great British Baking Show, which were done in ink wash, but she also did this one from the Twilight Zone. And it's like, it's such a different look than what we have in Kristen's pieces. Like, to me, Kristen's pieces are so elegant and refined, and Shabnam's piece is so almost dilapidated, which to me makes a lot of sense given what's happening in the scene. This guy is a little bit horrified with himself, but that's what I really enjoy about these art dares, is that we can all be working from the same subject, but have completely different interpretations. And that, to me, that's the difference between taking a photo and making a drawing of something, is that Shabnam saw this scene very differently than the way Kristen saw it. And that is really, really cool to me, because everybody has a completely different take. Scott is saying, I bought a sumi brush. You mentioned somehow it was somewhat unpredictable and slippery, and I do like that. Yeah, I don't tend to like the traditional watercolor brushes because I find them very stiff. And so you have to use 5 brushes to get the range of strokes that maybe one sumi brush can do. I mean, sumi brushes, I think, are hard for some people because they're a little bit mushy and they don't have a lot of structure, so they're hard to control. But if you like that, it can be really, really cool. All right, we're also going to look at some of these images by Kathleen Meyer, and these were done in marker. And this was Kathleen's first art dare. Actually, there are a bunch of people who are in the stream. It was their first art dare. Good for you guys for participating. I hope it's not your last, because we want you to keep participating. And Kathleen was incredibly productive. I think she said she did 50 drawings, and that in the beginning, when she first got started in colored pencil, she saw that the drawings were quite stiff, but that one of the advantages of doing these Twilight Zone sketches in markers was that it really made her commit to the lines. And I think that's so true, because Lauren Welch, teaching artist here at Art Prof, she got me really into markers. And I never thought about markers as a sketching tool, but it's true. With a marker, you can't be hesitant. Once you put that mark down, it's there and you're not going to erase it. And so I think we can see for sure in Kathleen's images that assertiveness, that confidence really, really comes through in these marker drawings. And especially, do you guys see on the black side on the left with those 3 figures, the fact that Kathleen took the time to really block in the negative space that's behind the figures, that really creates a sense of depth, even in a really quick sketch. And so that's another thing I saw across the board, is that people weren't only drawing people. People were drawing people in a place with props, with other people. And that is fantastic, because too often when I see people doing figure drawings, it's just a nude figure floating in space. You never get to contextualize it. And so that's what I saw a lot of people doing this time. Yeah, Allie Hughes, you got to do the next art dare, and I'm going to tell you guys about it. Well, not July's. I'm going to remind you about the one that's due in just like 2 days or so. All right, so we also have more drawings from the Twilight Zone. This is from Andrea Giselle Yunes from Argentina. And Andrea tells us that she's studying to be an art teacher. This is also her first art dare. And she says that she doesn't draw as often as she would like to. Join the club. That's definitely me. And that she's been home a lot, like the rest of us, because of the lockdown, watching lots of TV and movies. And so this was a really great way to combine those two things. I mean, I think what was nice about this art dare, from what I heard from a lot of people, is that it made drawing feel more relaxing, because I think you're sort of in that mindset anyway when you're watching a TV show or a movie. And I think for some people, sometimes drawing can feel a little stressful, or you're too worried about, oh, how's it going to go? And I think for a lot of people, watching the show lets them take a little bit of that pressure off of themselves. BNB says, yes, I love felt tip pen for this sort of thing. You just make marks. That's that. Move on and make more. Very liberating. Oh, Kathleen, you're here live in the chat. Very cool. We love it when you guys join us live. Hey, Shabnan, you're here as well. Shabnan says, I love sumi brushes. They hold so much water. I like it that I can't control it all the time. Yeah, it's a really wonderful tool. I really would encourage you guys to give it a shot. Now, Andrea also did some of these pencil drawings from UTOPIA. I'd never heard of the show. In fact, I learned about all these shows that I knew nothing about when I was going over these pieces. Tell me if you've seen these shows. I'd never heard of UTOPIA. Like, I don't even know what it's about. I think it's on Amazon or something. Although I just feel like I don't see a lot of good shows on Amazon. I don't know. Maybe I'm watching the wrong shows, but I don't know. I tried watching that really terrible show, Mozart in the Jungle. It was so bad. Like, I just was like, oh my God, I can't do this. So maybe if they come up with something else, I'll have a reason to watch. But really nice job, Andrew, in a lot of these, because I feel like, actually going back to the Twilight Zone images, number one, the sense of shadow that's conveyed in the pieces, like the cast shadow in this one. And also, I think just in general, the facial structure is really good in Andrea's pieces. Like, you guys see the figure at the bottom, the nose, I think is very sculptural. And again, that really strong cast shadow. So Andrea, you're really, I think, using lighting to your advantage. It's so, so helpful. Anytime you do faces, like, a lot of people ask me for help with their portraits. And a lot of the times I say to them, look, the issue's not really you. It's actually your reference has really bad shadows, and you're not able to really show the volume of that as much. John Murph says, I sometimes use grid lines, one of the cardinal sins as an artist, but I never trace. But you know something, John Murph, there's definitely a time and a place for that. If you're making a mural, or if you're transferring a painting to something else, there's times and places for it. But I think gesture drawing, guys, you got to learn to do this. It's so fundamental to training your eye and also being productive. Like, those of you guys who did this art dare, did you guys notice that by making so many drawings that you became much less precious about each individual drawing? Because I find that a lot of people, when they don't produce a large quantity, it's easy to get overly invested and too precious and worried about the individual pieces. And I just love, I mean, Andrea did so many. Like, she also did so many shows. Like, we have, this is actually from an Instagram live video. We have this piece. I don't even know what this is, with nail and eye, but the guy in the bottom, he's like really intense. And that's what he looks like. Because I was looking up the show stills while I was preparing the slideshow. I was like, wow, that really does look just like that crazy stare that he has. So really, really cool. Shabnan is saying, I'm continuing making pieces from movies and spending more time on them. It's helping me with learning composition more. That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, guys, keep going. I was actually thinking, once I finish my move to Utah, we should have like a movie night on Discord, and we could all like watch the same movie together. I feel like that would be really, really fun. So maybe when I get settled, we can have something like that, because people just had so much fun with this, and it's really, really cool. W315 says, I can never tell if a photo is a good reference. It's hard to tell. I mean, I think you have to see really good ones, and oftentimes people just don't get to see them. I mean, a lot of people are looking at stuff online, and oftentimes the quality online is not very good, or it's heavily photoshopped, and so it's very artificial. I mean, if I ever have the chance, what I want to do is make our own stock images of portraits and models that are not as tacky as the ones that are out there, but in another day. Cool, Tammy, you're going to do the next art dare. The next one's going to be really fun. I'm so excited. And actually, Jordan is going to help me introduce it because it has to do with a project idea that he did a little ways back. All right, so a bunch of you guys did Tiger King as well because that was a very hot show. I never got through it. I watched like 3 episodes and then just lost interest. I don't know. I'm very picky about documentaries. If they don't hook me and make me feel like there's something deeper than the surface, I just am done. But I did really like drawing some of the characters in that show. So this is another live drawing session that I did. Albert is asking, any vlogging of your trip to Utah in real time? I gotta see. I'm not sure because internet might be a little bit tricky. We're going to a lot of places where there's not a lot of internet access. I'll try. I mean, at the very least, I'll try to do maybe some live streams on Instagram Live or something. So I'm not going to disappear forever. It's just my schedule's not going to be as predictable as it normally is. Okay, let's see. So we have all of these great dynamic shots of animals and people. And these are the earlier images that Kathleen did that she was talking about earlier, that these drawings were sort of stiff in colored pencil. And these are really different than the marker drawings. I mean, you could almost say that they're 2 different people. But to me, that's a really good sign. I feel like this is the place to play and experiment and try different things. Because gesture drawing, in my opinion, it should not be something that is automatic. It should be messy. It should be unpredictable. And those are all good things because it's not the place to feel like you need to make good work. It's just exercise. So this is really fun. This is by Kat Briggs from the USA. And so this is actually Anne McQueen, who's one of the people in Tiger King. I mean, oh man, Kat, you really captured that look on her face. I mean, it's such a great job. Like, I think especially the mouth, like the mouth and the neck is so well done, Kat. Like, this looks really, really wonderful. Alexa Dine says, I like the art dares that aren't as precious. Like this one was freeing because they could be bad and that was okay. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we should all be making bad drawings. There should be a quota of you guys making work that you don't think is very good, because that's how you get to the good stuff. If you try too hard to be successful every time, you won't be. And number 2, you'll just be really, really mad at yourself. So be like the rest of us and make lots of bad drawings. Really, really important. Yeah, Blue Wolf Spirit, that's a really good suggestion because you can do the art dare and just don't show it to anybody. Or you can just message it to me in an Instagram DM and I'll look at it. And, you know, it's up to you guys, however you want to do that. But I mean, I think what's really fun is that we're all in the same boat. And it is really cool to see how other people are doing it. Okay, so actually, Kat was so prolific. I think Kat drew from like 5 different shows. It was like Tiger King, Tales from the Loop, and Top Chef and Queer Eye. And so Kat really focused on drawings that were 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and 10-minute drawings. And I don't know like half of these shows. So I have no idea who Loretta is. But Loretta is from Tales from the Loop. And this just has so much energy, you guys. Look at the way that Kat got the scribbles in the face to merge with the scribbles in the hair. Like, that's such a beautiful act of cohesion right in there. And you can't fake that. Like, that's so wonderful to get that really rigorous feeling of energy. Allie saying, trust me, I am great at bad drawings. Albert says, I like bad drawings such as Raymond Pettibon. I actually have a story about him, which I can't tell, but it's pretty entertaining every time I think about it. So anyway, Kat also did a couple of these images from Queer Eye, which I actually haven't watched. I feel like I've seen little bits of it. I actually used to watch the old Queer Eye, which used to be on Bravo many, many years ago. Tell me if you guys watched the old Queer Eye, because the old Queer Eye, I don't think it was as popular as the new one. The new one, I think, definitely took off in a way that the first one did not. But I hadn't seen like any of the characters. Like, I didn't know about any of them. And then Kat also did some images from Top Chef. And it's just great, I think, seeing things like the backwards cap and the clothing. Like, these are the things that really make figure drawings come alive. Like, I totally get that people want to study anatomy, they want to know the figure, but you can't draw naked people forever. I mean, at a certain point, they have to wear clothes. I mean, I think that this is such a great exercise for that, because I get a lot of people, they say to me, oh, I really, really want to draw the figure, and I have to draw a nude model. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? Drawing regular people with clothes on is actually really, really helpful at the same time. Okay, let's talk about Sherlock. Guys, I watched so much Sherlock over the past 2 months. Oh my God. Well, the thing is, like, I tried not to watch too much because I want to save it, because I hadn't watched it for a while. And I was like, okay, can't watch it all at once, because if you binge Sherlock, it's very sad because you run out of episodes really quickly, and it's just very upsetting. So anyway, if you guys want to take a look, I did do this stream where I did these graphite drawings with woodless pencils and also kneaded erasers. So check that out. And Shabnan is back because you were so prolific. You worked in so many different shows and so many different media, and it's just great to see that. And Shabnan, I have to say, this one, I just love the hair. The hair, I think, captures the feeling of energy without being so chaotic, but also really showing that you're looking at the hair, because I can tell when my students just stop looking and they just scribble it in. Like, I can really see your eyes being so sharp and looking and observing, and that's really, really outstanding. I know, Annie, isn't it a tragedy that they like never picked it up? I'm like, how could you guys not make more and more of these? Like, it was so crazy popular, and they haven't made it in years and years. Although I did read, and I don't know if I want to believe this, that they are thinking about resurrecting it. So we'll see. Okay. Although Doctor Strange is coming out, Doctor Strange 2, I think in like 2 years. That's a little while, but that's okay. There's always the internet, right? All right. We have Sean Sutherland Kirby back again from the beginning of the stream. And I have to say, Sean, you did such a good job with Watson on the right-hand side. I think that's Watson. I mean, it has that skeptical look that he has all the time. And I just think so much confidence in these lines. Really, really great. Angela Bai is saying, during that art dare, our family watched the whole show in 1 weekend. I know, it's so hard to stop, especially when they have a cliffhanger and you're like, I need to know. It's like really, really hard. And Sean, oh, what a nice job on that profile. Oh, I just love his profile. He's just so elegant. This is a really cute episode. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but you can see like half his upper torso in here, and he's like walking around naked in the sheet. Yes, that was a really good episode. And Kathleen also did Sherlock. I mean, how cool is this, you guys? We're looking at Kathleen's pieces in marker. We've got Sean's in pencil. And we also have Shabnan's, which is done in oil pastel. I mean, that's the other cool thing I think about this art dare, is that people work in so many different media. And so we got to see the translation of the idea of a gesture drawing in so many different places. Kathleen also did chalk pastel. And this one, I'm guessing it's probably a policeman or something, but beautiful loose marks. And I think, Kathleen, in here, what I'm really impressed by is you resisted the temptation to outline things as much. Because I noticed that earlier, Kathleen, in the colored pencil drawings, those first ones that you did, that you were more about outlining the shape. And here, in this image of the policeman, I mean, it really feels like you're building the figure from the inside out. So really great job with that. I just love the balancing of the marks. And this one here on the left-hand side is like he's got his microscope, he's got his book, and you can see like the concentration is just fantastic. Just, I mean, I'm a little bit biased. You know, it's sort of hard for me to not like anything that involves Benedict. Okay, now Emmy Strong decided to focus all of her drawings on this Hulu series called The Great. Has anybody watched this show? I've never seen this show before. Like, I honestly had never heard of it. I mean, I'm noticing now that what's his name? What's that actor's name? He was Beast in X-Men. That's the only, Nicholas Hoult. That's his name. The only reason I remember him is because somebody commented on one of our streams that Alex Rowe, one of our teaching assistants, artists, looks like Nicholas Hoult. I'm like, Alex is way cuter by far. So anyway, Emmy decided to do all these drawings based on The Great. And Emmy just recently finished her junior year in high school, and she decided to do the art dare to get over her fear of drawing people. And wow, did you get over it? I mean, guys, there's so many figures. Emmy did so many drawings, and I think that is totally the way to confront your fear, because a lot of us do that. I think a lot of us have certain subjects we're just a little bit more hesitant about them for one reason or another. But this was a great way for you to really deal with that. And so she talks about how doing the costumes, the hair, the emotion, she loved capturing all of that. And like some of the other people, this was also her first art dare. So Emmy, great job. Yeah, like the costumes are very challenging, as Lisa says. But I have to say that the image on the right, I mean, that female figure doesn't even really have a lot of articulation in the face, and more the character is about the clothing. And so I really do think that the clothing, it's oftentimes something that people overlook. Like people oftentimes think that the face is the most important thing, but the figure gesture, the clothing, all of that contributes. It is definitely not the only thing that's the face. Oh, Emmy, you are live in the chat. Very cool. I'm so happy you could do this. And tell us, Emmy, did you get over your fear of drawing people? Because I think you did an amazing job. You did so many drawings, and I'm hoping that that really helped you, is just really confronting that. Scott Guiley says Nicholas Hoult was also in a similar period piece film called The Favorite. Oh, yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah, the only reason I know about him is because he was in X-Men, but that's just because Michael Fassbender's in that movie. So I was not paying attention to Nicholas Hoult. Okay, the next person we are going to look at focused on Gordon Ramsay's new show called Uncharted. So Lisette Dorr, who we are looking at here, Lisette is from Germany. And so she decided to do all of these drawings from Gordon Ramsay, basically traveling around the world. And I guess this is, I think it's on the Nat Geo channel. I've never seen this before, but she found that the images of Gordon Ramsay traveling with different situations, she said she found it very poetic and really inspiring because, of course, looking at all these images, you've got all the food, the culture, the diversity of people, giant snakes, probably edible ones. And I just think these have such a beautiful fluidity to them. Like this one, which is these three figures. The three figures, I think, are so efficient. But you know what's gorgeous, you guys? Does everybody see the like abstract marks that show the cliff that they're climbing? I mean, like you would look at that and think, oh, it just looks like a bunch of abstract scribbles, but doesn't it really work as a structure for the figures to climb on? I just think Lisette did such a great job with all of these. And then there's other ones like this one where the figure is a lot more modeled. There's a lot more layering in the colors. And so Lisette, I think you just did a great job having such a broad range of different types of drawings. It really comes across beautifully. And like other people, some of them are marker, some of them are more colored pencil, really, really bright. Okay, now this is another show. I've never heard of this, Midnight Sun. I don't even know if this is a movie or a TV show. But anyway, Kathleen did a bunch of these as well in charcoal. And these have great facial expressions. And I love the hair, like especially the figure on the left-hand side. And then also looking at the way that the figures interact. Because oftentimes you see that in movies, like people are hugging each other or they're like, you know, whatever. And I feel like in here, we really see that connection. Emmy says, I love the BBC version of Pride and Prejudice. I did some drawings of it this month. Is that the one with Colin Firth? Because that's the one I like. I don't like the one with the other guy that has Keira Knightley. He was sort of stiff, but I love Colin Firth. Not because I'm like hot for him. He's just like really funny. I don't know. He's like charming. Like that's fine. Anyway, this is more of Kathleen, some great shadows in this one. And now we are going to look at some drawings from Better Call Saul. These are from Hiba Belkadi, who I believe is live in the chat. So Hiba, tell us if you are here. And let's see, Hiba did Better Call Saul because she was excited about the directing and the lighting. And Hiba actually gave herself a very particular structure. So for a week, Hiba decided she would do 10 drawings per day and do a different media every single day. Oh, Kathleen is saying this is an episode of Twilight Zone. Oh, crap. Sorry about that. So many images. We were trying hard to line everything up, but I guess ultimately you can definitely mess it up somewhere. And so she did Better Call Saul. And as you guys look at all these images, by the way, that's me in the top. I am definitely not in this TV show, just to clarify. And so Hiba worked in pencil. She did drawings in micron pens, in markers, sanguine, which I'm guessing Hiba is probably something more like Conte crayon. She also did these drawings from The Last Dance, which I guess is a documentary about these basketball players like during the time of Michael Jordan. I actually had never heard of this either. And so she did these wonderful expressive portraits of Scottie Pippen, who I guess was like pissed about the documentary. I read a little bit about it as I was looking things up. But anyway, I just loved, I don't know, he just looks really, I don't know, the smirk on his face that you got, Hiba, I just think is so hilarious. So great job on that facial expression. And then I believe these are the ones probably in Conte crayon or sanguine, as you said, but can you guys believe how many drawings there are? There's so many drawings. And the other thing that I really like about your drawings, Hiba, is that they're so volumetric. Like, look at this one of this figure in the top left. Like that lighting and that shadow that's just like falling downwards on that face is beautifully done. I mean, gesture drawings to me, I don't usually think about them as being very volumetric. I think about them most of the time as being more about contour and about articulating just anything. But Shabnan, what a great job. Not Shabnan, sorry, Hiba. Sorry, so many names that I'm trying to keep track of. What a great job you did on Better Call Saul. All right, so we're going to look now at these images by Annabelle Finch. Annabelle is from the UK, and she did a whole bunch of charcoal drawings based on the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which is another movie that I honestly didn't know anything about. And it just seems like a great show because you have these very expressive figures. They're on horses. People have these cool mustaches and hats. And I just think this one is so cohesive. I mean, it's like every single mark in this drawing to me really has its place. And I love the range of lines. Like some of the lines are very thick. Some of them are very thin, like really, really excellent job. And so Annabelle explains in her statement that before lockdown, she had just started taking a figure drawing class and missed them desperately because of the lockdown. And so she said that she had become ill. They suspected it was COVID. She had finished her degree and it took a long time to recover. So, oh my goodness, Annabelle, that's a lot to go through. And so she really liked the idea of this very quick and very easy challenge and this really simple idea of drawing just to draw, which I think is fantastic. I think we should all be doing that. Oh, sorry, I showed you guys that slide too soon. Our honorable mention winner is Shabnan Niku for her beautiful ink and brush pen drawings. And our prize winner is Hiba Belkadi. You won the prize for the May Art Dare. So great job, everybody. You guys really knocked it out of the park with how productive you are. So really, really nice work. Those people get to choose from different prizes. We give out mystery art supplies. And this is new because we transitioned all the way to Discord instead of using Facebook. If you're an honorable mention and you're international, or if you're in the US, you can do it too. You can get 3 months free access to our Discord voice channel. Usually you have to pledge on Patreon to have access to that voice channel, but this is one of the prizes that we do offer. that people can try out. And another option for the prize winner, portfolio critique, website critique, Instagram critique. So I will be in touch with you guys, Hiba and Shabnan, about how to claim those prizes, because hopefully you guys will have a lot of fun with that. And if you guys want to get back into sketching, I would really suggest you check out the 2500 drawing challenge that Jordan McCracken Foster is running in our Discord. There's a whole channel just for it. And tell me in the chat if any of you guys are doing it, because a lot of people are doing it and it's really inspiring. Like every time I go into the Discord, there's more and more people joining and trying to make progress. And so this is, I think, a really good version of a sketching exercise that will hold you accountable, that is pretty relaxed. I mean, Jordan's going to make you work, but in a good way. He's going to do it with a big smile. You're going to think that, you know, everything's fine and, you know, you're not working hard at all, of course. B&B says, is there a minimum Patreon pledge for the voice channel on the Discord? Yes, there is. So if you pledge at least $8 a month, then you have access to the voice channel on the Discord. So the way it works, we have scheduled sessions where me or Jordan will be in the voice channel and I'm on video, everybody else is on audio. And basically you show up, you can bring a piece that you want me to look at, you can ask me a question. We just tried it last couple days ago just to see if it worked out from a tech side. It was pretty fun and I really liked hearing everybody's voices. Like after seeing everybody's names in the Discord for so long, it was actually really nice to connect with people in that way. Yeah, we have multiple tiers on Patreon. So some people are like the $20 tier where you get more access to other things. So you guys can definitely check that out. And Annie Williams says, yes, I'm doing it. I've never drawn so many heads before. Well, you're going to draw more than just a few because Jordan is going to follow through on it. He's going to make you guys really bust your butts to get that going. By the way, if you have not done the June Art Dare, the June Art Dare is a quarantine diary. And you guys should check out in our Instagram highlights. A lot of people have been making books. People have been making Lotus books, Coptic Stitch. I know there's somebody, I think it's Adira, is doing a lot of those pop-up books, which are gorgeous. So you guys still have a little bit of time. You've got today and tomorrow to do hashtag ArtProfDare on Instagram. And we also have an upload form on the Art Dare page on artprof.org. So please submit because there's some really cool stuff going on. Subscribe to our channel and join the Art Prof family. And thank you so much to our top Patreon supporters who make all of this possible. Thank you to everybody for cheering each other on. You know, I can't tell you guys how important that is to everybody here in this community. And maybe some of you guys can share a little bit of that, because I think that's something I don't see a lot online, this exchange and mutual support. I feel that a lot of sites I go to, people, it's just me. And I'm just really impressed with the way you guys really support each other in the Discord and the chats, that you guys are here to cheer each other on when we look at the May Art Dare. That's just really inspiring, guys. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next time. Bye.